Well, hey there. How was everybody this fine Saturday evening? Today, I saw Alita. Oh my God, I loved it. Reminded me of Ghost in the Shell a little. The design style, the choice of the future. Also, the style reminded me a little of Ready Player One, how they were in that trailer post-apocalyptic world, and they were just getting by, like Astro Boy, that animated movie. If you've seen that, they dumped all the robots and trash to the world below while they lived in Mega City up above. As far as Alita goes, a lot of people are kind of creeped out with the eye thing. I love it. I think it's very true to the original style, since most anime all hire big eyes to begin with. And I watched a video today which explained a little more about Alita. Now, I've heard about this comic in the past. I've seen artwork and know a little about the story. But I watched this video, and it was explaining how the comic book started. And it's still in print today. It's not your typical anime where she's always dependent on the savior. But this is more, we're seeing her grow up through her eyes because she has no memories, so she's building them from scratch. So we're experiencing her life as she experiences it for the first time. And the movie is actually based on the first 2 chapters of the manga. If this does well, will probably end up being another film, because at the end, you need more. It ended just like The Matrix 2, whereas Revolutions, I guess, a bad place to cut it, but they had to. But you want more. You want to see more of this character, and she's actually growing up from a little girl who doesn't know who she is to a woman who still doesn't know who she is. But she's finding her way, and she's doing it on her own terms. And it's a really good story. There were 2 parts in it that actually kind of made me tear up, just a little. But that's because I'm sensitive to the situations of these particular scenes. Well, I don't want to spoil it for anyone, so I won't give you too much detail. But when I got back, we had dinner afterwards at Barney's. We talked a little bit about it in the car. I noticed that he was a little sleepy during it. It was a long movie. It was 2 hours, 25 minutes. I had heard that it was slow in the beginning, but then the end kind of ramped up. I don't agree with that. They had a lot of information to get out without giving you too much exposition. It just kind of got right into the story from the beginning. And I liked how they managed the story and her reactions and what was going on in the overall story. Before I watched it, I did see a review by Grace Randolph, and she gave a lot of information on the history of the character and the backstory, which you don't get too much of. But this movie doesn't demand that you know the backstory before watching it. You can go right into the story and just enjoy the setting that they are in, because you're just part of that particular moment moving forward. You don't really need the backstory, although later on they do actually give you some flashbacks as she's regaining some of her memory. And you see, now this won't spoil anything. If you're a fan of the comic or the OVA, 300 years ago, humanity left Earth, went to Mars, they colonized it, they got really good, had some robot trouble. left the Mars, came back to Earth. They wanted, I guess, bring their technology. There was a battle. Humanity lost in the battle, but the new Martians were victorious and had one city, one floating city that they were able to take over, and that's how they control the world below. I guess their technology evolved so much more advanced than humanity. One, because they're on Mars away from influence from humanity and we're free to just develop whatever. Created nanotech, metals, superflow, technology, black hole reactors, new power sources, new everything. So when they came for the battle, the main reason the humanity lost because their technology was just that much more advanced. And the first iteration of Alita was part of a group, resistance forces, specially made soldiers that didn't agree with Nova, who was the person in control at the very end of the war, and their only sole mission is to take him out. And it didn't work. It didn't go well. We don't know why or how, but towards the end of the battle, something happened and she was scrapped or intentionally left in the junkyard that's below for maybe to be recalled at some later point. Like it's humanity's last hope. We gotta save at least one of these No Man. They had a Marnin. They had a real word. And then the doctor is just scavenging for parts. Apparently in this world, human, cyborg, replacement parts are quite common. I guess that humanity is limited. So there are organ harvesters. So they strike at night and then they sell the organs to the people up above. And they're not dead, they just take limbs. So they, in order to continue to survive, they go to doctors who fix them up with a lot of prosthetic robotic arms and legs and whatnot. So it looks like humanity is quite used to human organic metal hybrids. And in the movie world, they have motorball. It's kind of like their sporting event where the challengers fight and the victor gets to go up to the city of above and as a reward. Kind of like the island, but just like the island, it's not true. The only way you go up to the top is as body parts to be sold. I decided I wanted to learn more because I knew there was an animated movie. And what do you know? I found it on YouTube. It's 55 minutes long. I watched it. Wow. Talk about parallel creation. Every key scene in the animated movie is exactly duplicated in the live action film. The only twist are to fill in the gaps, because in the anime it's just boom, boom, set up, because they keep it moving. The story wraps up in 55 minutes. That's pretty good. Now, considering it's only one part of the story and there are more parts, that's pretty tight editing. So for the film, which is 2 hours and 25 minutes, it means they had to pad for 1 hour and 25 minutes. So in the animated series, there are gladiator games, but they don't figure too prominently in the story. You see them on news screens. You know that people strive to be gladiators, and there is a prize for them, but it's not really important as it is in the movie. In the movie, it looks like a rollerball. You know, that movie from the 70s, and then they remade it. I think Paul Newman was in the original. Or they made the gladiators rollerball champions, but they're robots mostly. The object is the first person to take this metal spike the ball and score wins. And they run around the track, and then we'll all pretty much have wheels. Nobody's running on foot, and most of them are cyborgs of some kind. So it's almost like robot jocks, where these are continual fighters, and it's in a big stadium, and it's the thing to do, where life is sucky down below, but at least they have this one saving grace, where they can relax from the troubles of the grime and the grit and the horror, and come to this fancy stadium. Somehow they all have money enough to see that. Maybe the games are free, but they're all pretty well dressed, and then they fight, and they're for the ultimate glory of going up above. Now, for other people who want to increase their money, you can become a bounty hunter. You register with the factory, which is the same people who are harvesting the body parts, but you don't know that yet. And the factory gives out bounties. They're kind of like the de facto police department. And they're all trained, and there are rules, and but that like kind of like Road Warrior. They're all just punk ass out tattooed freaks. You know, one guy has robot dogs. He's like a cowboy of dogs. The main bounty hunter villain, not really, I guess, looks like a Mayan. He's a silver, totally robotic except for his face. He really spends a lot of money on keeping the fleshy part of his face looking like a model. And then there are other bounty hunters. So they all work together to get money by turning over the bounties to the factory, who I guess harvests them for parts or something. It's not really clear. At least in the anime, it does the same thing, but not to the same degree, because again, it's only 55. And in the movie, there's more to it. So the doctor who found Alita was actually one of these bounty hunters. Lost his daughter to a junkie who broke into his hospital looking for drugs and killed his daughter. So he kind of quit and wanted to kill them all as revenge. That's why he became a bounty hunter. And then Alita, once she realizes what's going on, she wants to become a bounty hunter. And at first, the doctor won't let her because he doesn't want her to be in that lifestyle. She just wants her to be a girl. But really, he's putting on his own emotions from his daughter onto her. So she could start over, they can start over, and kind of maybe have a family, I guess. Like, you do see his ex-wife, who's kind of moved on. Not really the bad guy, really. She's more like, she's another robotics doctor, and she works for the rollerball people, fixing up those guys. And later on, she gets persuaded to be evil, but remembers who she is, and that kind of doesn't happen. And then in the cartoon, the anime, she's just pure evil. There's no mention of a child or her rationale. She's just an evil henchman of the factory, and you don't even know they're related if they are. I mean, it may be hinted in the beginning. It's not really clear. They don't mention about the daughter or the bond between them. And there's really no, what do you call it, like Darth Vader, there's no coming back into the light, as you would say, for her, at least her character. Because I guess there's another movie, another animated feature for the other chapters of this book, which I think they're on chapter 29, or they're up to the, it's 30 years later in the story. She's still growing up. Then I don't know if the mother or the ex-wife is still in the story. In the movie, she is. So there are some differences, but had good music. The set designs were flawless. The eye thing didn't creep me out. I kind of liked her. If you hear anything about her being over-sexualized as a character, it's totally not true. It's not like in Ghost in the Shell where she's wearing a naked bodysuit. No, it's actually very complex plastic body parts. So the joints are everywhere. It's intricately designed. There's no human anatomy whatsoever other than from the neck and above, which is actually flesh, what was saved of her original body. Everything else is completely inorganic. Even when she's wearing clothes, you could tell that she is a cyborg underneath. She does have kind of breasts, but like where the battery packs will be, they're not overt. There are no nipples. It's completely demurred. Ignore any complaints that you may hear about her being too sexy for a child, which she isn't. She's 300 years old, so that's hard to get a child. She may have the face of a young girl, but she's 300 years old. And in the book, that would make her 330, so even older. So that's just crazy people trying to pick it apart for no reason. So I would highly recommend you see this movie. If you like Ghost in the Shell or Akira or that anime interpretation of Metropolis, you would like this movie. I'm sure there may be some slow parts for people as they're trying to tell a lot of story. I hear it was, well, Grace said it was 4 chapters, but in the video that I watched when I came home, he said it was only 2 chapters of the book. So again, there was a lot of padding of information so that you don't feel lost and you get a complete front to back story. So I would give Alita scale of 1 to 10, even an 8, which is pretty good. That's a solid B. Score was good. There was nothing I didn't like about it. My friend, on the other hand, he was bored to tears. But I don't think he likes anime or thinking movies anyway. So, it is what it is. I liked it, and that's all that mattered. I got my money's worth, and I think you will too. Credits are really short. There's no cutscene, no post-credit scene. And it's done. Like less than 2 minutes. But I guess they just had technical team, very small list of actors, and that was it. Yeah. I hope you like this review. Go see the movie. I'm going to put the link to the anime, which is on YouTube, down below. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you again next week. Show your friends you support ClassicGlue while showing the world who you back in the battle of the second screen. The brand new ClassicGlue t-shirt from Zazzle. Sizes vary from small to 6X, and you can take your choice of colors from olive, forest green, camo, and many, many more. And if you haven't already, go ahead and order a team hoodie. And I love ClassicGlue tee, an opening team tee, or an athletics tee as well. The link is below in the description. You're gonna look great. People love these shirts, and they fit wonderfully. If you enjoyed this video and want to stick around, why not subscribe to this channel by clicking the glue bottle in the middle. Ring that bell for notifications and stay tuned. More videos are coming right up.